6 months ago, I started asking a question nobody talks about. What's it actually like to work for a billionaire when you discover they're a criminal? Not the FBI agents who catch them, not the journalists who expose them, not even the victims who suffer, the employees, the assistants who book the flights, the accountants who move the money, the lawyers who write the NDAs, the people who see everything and have to decide what to do about it. So I started writing their stories. These aren't documentaries. These are dramatizations. But every story you'll hear on this channel is built on real patterns, real methods, real psychology. Because the truth is, billionaire criminals all use the same playbook. And the people who work for them, they all face the same impossible choice. Let me tell you what you're not going to get here. You're not getting 10 billionaires who got caught listicles. You're not getting surface level true crime where we just recap the news. And you're definitely not getting another channel that glorifies wealth while pretending to criticize it. What you are getting is this: stories about the people inside the machine. The 29-year-old accountant who realizes the numbers don't add up and her boss is stealing retirement funds. The personal assistant who accidentally sees the text messages and now knows about the trafficking. The corporate lawyer who drafted the NDAs and has to decide if keeping his job is worth keeping the secret. See, here's what nobody tells you about working for the ultra-wealthy. They don't see you as a threat. They see you as furniture. You're the person who brings the coffee, who files the paperwork, who books the hotel room. You're so far beneath them, they forget you have eyes and ears and a conscience. They get comfortable, sloppy, arrogant. They have conversations on speakerphone. They leave documents on desks. They CC you on emails you were never supposed to read. And one day you realize, I know something. Something that could destroy them. Something that could save their victims. Something that will definitely destroy you if you tell. That's the moment every story on this channel is about. That impossible moment between seeing it and doing something about it. Every episode on this channel follows someone through that journey. The setup, how they got the job, why they needed it, what the billionaires seemed like at first. Because here's the thing, these people don't look like monsters. They give to charity, they're on magazine covers, they give TED Talks about innovation and disruption and giving back. They're charming, charismatic, they make you feel seen. That's how they trap you. The discovery. The moment things don't add up. The wire transfer that goes to the wrong account. The meeting that happens off the books. The victim who calls the office and gets hung up on small things. Easy to dismiss. Until they're not. The complicity. Because here's what true crime doesn't show you enough. Good people become complicit in evil things all the time. Not because they're bad. Because they're human. They have student loans, sick parents, mortgages, kids in college. They've signed NDAs with penalty clauses that could bankrupt them. They've been told, this is just how business works at this level. You're smart enough to understand that, right? And part of them starts to believe it. Part of them rationalizes, compartmentalizes, survives, until they can't anymore. The breaking point. Something happens that they can't unsee, can't rationalize, can't live with. Maybe they meet one of the victims face to face. Maybe the crime escalates beyond money into violence. Maybe they just look in the mirror one day and don't recognize themselves. That's when they have to decide, who am I willing to be? The reckoning. What happens when they finally act? The USB drive copied at 3 a.m., the anonymous tip to the FBI, the forwarded email to a journalist, the raid, the arrest, the collapse, and the aftermath nobody prepares you for. Okay, real talk. A friend of mine bet me I couldn't build an audience for this. He said people don't want fictional crime stories on YouTube. They want true crime. They want real names, real scandals, real drama. He said I'd never hit 5,000 subscribers with made-up stories about billionaires. I think he's wrong. I think he's wrong because the best stories have always been the ones that feel true even when they're not. The Godfather isn't a documentary. Breaking Bad isn't based on a real chemistry teacher. But they tell you something real about power, about corruption, about what happens to people when they're pushed to the edge. And here's what I know about billionaire crime after researching it obsessively for 3 years. The methods are real. The shell companies, the offshore accounts, the intimidation tactics. The psychology is real. How they manipulate, how they isolate, how they make you doubt yourself. The system is real. The lawyers who protect them, the politicians who enable them, the media that sanitizes them. So yeah, my stories are fiction, but the world they show you, that's real as hell. And I think you're here because you're tired of watching billionaires face zero consequences. I think you want to understand how they operate, not just what they did. I think you want stories that respect your intelligence and don't insult it. So here's the deal. If you want psychological crime fiction, that makes you think. If you want to understand power, complicity, and conscience, if you think my friend is wrong and there is an audience for intelligent crime storytelling, hit subscribe. Help me prove that 5,000 people give a damn about stories that matter. Because when we hit that number, I'm dropping the darkest story I've ever written. And trust me, you've never heard anything like it. Let me give you a taste of the stories coming to this channel. The Silent Witness. She was his housekeeper for 8 years. He was a real estate billionaire who thought she didn't understand English. Then his mistress went missing, and she saw him loading a heavy carpet into his car at 2 a.m. The veteran's route. He was a former Marine driving a hedge fund CEO. Every Tuesday night, he was ordered to transport terrified teenage girls to luxury penthouses. He didn't survive combat to become a driver for a trafficking ring. The nanny's record. She was hired to protect a tech mogul's daughter. Then the child whispered 4 words, "Don't leave me with daddy." Now she has 8 months of secret audio that could destroy a $12 billion empire or get her deported. Every story is different. But they all ask the same question. What would you do? One last thing. These stories are about employees who were trapped between their conscience and their survival. People who made impossible choices in impossible circumstances. Some of them were heroes, some of them were cowards, most of them were just human. And if you've ever worked somewhere and seen something you weren't supposed to see, if you've ever stayed silent because speaking up would cost you everything, if you've ever wondered what you'd really do when the moment came, these stories are for you. The powerful have gotten comfortable. Let's make them uncomfortable. Subscribe, and let's prove my friend wrong. See you in the next one.